I'd like to talk to you a little bit in this video about main storage and how things are stored in main storage. If you have a machine that has 1 gigabyte of main storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM, you're talking about 1 billion bytes of main storage. You're talking about 1 billion characters that are able to be stored in main storage. Let's take a look here. If you look here, at the very top of this whiteboard here, I have some circles. Think of each one of these circles as a position or a place, a storage area in RAM. And if you were going to type the dog, the T would be in this place, the H would be here, the E would be here, space would be here, the D would be stored in that character, and so forth. In other words, one character would be stored in one storage location. Now, the question is how is that T really stored in that storage location? And that's what we want to look at here. If I could take just one of these storage locations and blow it up right to here, you can see inside one storage location I have 8 tiny circles. Each circle is really a wire that can either store or not store electricity. And it's a combination of these wires having and not having electricity that allows us to store data. Going from your right to left, the wire on the right, the wire is also called a bit. The wire is worth a 1, and then a 2, and then a 4, and then an 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. So we have 8 wires, or 8 bits, grouped together, and each of these 8 bits can be stored in one of the storage locations. 8 bits is 1 byte, and 1 byte is 1 character, and we use a coding scheme called ASCII that allows us to store data. Okay, let's take a look at capital A. How is capital A stored? Okay, I'm going to mark my whiteboard here. Capital A would be stored if I had electricity running in the second bit from the left and the last one on the right. So if you take a look here, the bit on the far right, the 1 bit, has electricity, and the second bit from the left, the 64 bit, has electricity. They're the only bits that are on. The other bits are off. If you add the 64 bit and the 1 bit, you have 65. That's a capital A. Now capital B is a 66. How would you get that? You turn on the 64 bit, the second one from the left, and the 2. The 64 and the 2, that's a 66. Capital C is a 67. 64, 2, and 1. Capital D is a 68, a 64, and 4. So the bottom line here is, if you understand that, take the bits that are on and add their place values together, and that's how you can store data. Now you know how characters are stored in main storage. What you have to understand also is 65 is where the capital letters start. 97 is where the lowercase letters start. So 65 is capital A, 66 is capital B, 67 is capital C. Lowercase 97 is lowercase a. So if you think about 97, that's going to be the 64, the 32, and the 1. The 64, 32, and 1 is a lowercase a. The 64, 32, and 2 is a lowercase b, 98. 64, 32, and a 2 and a 1, and 99 is a lowercase c, and so forth. And that's how the letters are stored in ASCII. ASCII is the coding scheme used to store characters for most personal computers.